pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, can we get roll call, please?
Sure. Bankin. Astral,
Here.
Bristol, here, Pittsburgh,
Excused.
Asplund,
Yes.
Chesky.
Here.
Reinhardt.
Yes. All right. I'll make a motion to approve the agenda with amendments.
I'll make a motion that we approve the agenda as presented with the amendment.
I don't get it.
Got a second?
Yes, I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
We do have one thing we have to correct on the agenda. I put conference room A
Oh, yeah.
and no, this is
A.
this is A.
Hey, Lori.
Amendment is I put conference room C and it's actually A.
Hey,
All right.
And then the change on the motion.
Yeah, and then we changed the emotion down during public hearing and special presentation for the senior citizens renewal, the L 4029 tax rate request. I put 4209, it's actually 4029,
oh, let's see.
so that needs to be changed.
So should we make a motion to accept the agenda with changes? Okay,
I
We
did.
already did.
I did.
okay, with the
Already did.
changes, yeah, okay.
Okay. So everybody had a chance to look over the minutes?
Mhm. Approval.
Okay, we got a motion to approve the minutes.
A second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes from the special board meeting?
Mhm.
I'll make a motion. We accept the minutes, September 30th, 2022.
I'll second that.
Okay, motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Excuse me, Jeff, I don't see on there the motion to approve the closed session. Can you do those? I passed them out.
Okay,
And I looked at them.
I didn't catch that earlier, so.
I think we're gonna have to add one.
Yeah. So will we need?
September 21st.
Motion?
Yeah,
Okay,
Motion to accept the September 21st
I'll do that.
closed session minutes.
I'll second.
And I need those passed back to me, please.
Actually, it's me.
All in favor?
Oh, you're gonna destroy them? Okay.
Opposed? Jack, Robin, can we have those envelopes?
Certainly can.
The one off Samantha's desk.
Yeah, right there, Jack. Could you hand that to me? Thank you. I have another one right here too. I'll get them to you.
Okay. All right, general public comment. Do we have any?
John Thompson here. I'd like to ask a couple of questions. You guys don't need to answer. You guys been following the news of what's going on in Los Angeles. Racist comments,
We did read that.
city mayor resigned. They're requesting, may I put this up here?
Yeah.
I want to see some of this.
Is that a battery charger?
No, it's a radio. So anyways, it's all over racist comments and whatnot. And this is some disgusting behavior by my township supervisor and some of the board members. And I'd like to play this for you. Some of this might be pretty disturbing to you.
What township?
Reading Township.
Reddington.
Turn this up. I'm gonna pause it. This has been going on for quite some time. There's so many different elements to this that it's not even funny.
Is it video or just sound?
There's both. Yeah.
Do that.
Did ya? And after I found out he's from freaking Hawaii. I said, oh, he's a goddamn pineapple nigger then. Some lady looked at me, she says, well, if that's the way you look at it. And I said, well, he must have gotten a hell of a lot of trouble over there to come to Michigan. Yeah. Well, that's what he done over here in Lavalin. He went southeast. I said, yep, I know where he went, southeast. Oh, he went up here district. Operate on a tune.
If you notice, township supervisor laughs about it. Township clerk says, oh, Dallas, that's funny. This isn't appropriate. There's no place in our township government that this needs to take place.
And this was out in the parking lot,
Transfer station.
the transfer station. Okay, and,
Yes.
and the man speaking is not on the board?
He is not on the board, but he is a volunteer for the township. He has signed a waiver to be at that transfer station and work. So he is technically a public employee. The first part of that, you didn't catch it, it wasn't loud, and I hate to say this, but I'm gonna repeat what he said. He says, I put my life in the hands of a nigger. There's no place that this should take place.
You were taking the video.
I was the one that was there and heard it.
Okay, so did you address that man after you stopped the video?
It's not my place to address him like that. I thought that the township should, step up and take care of the situation and has not.
Did you speak to your township about it?
I've talked to my township supervisor repeatedly over a bunch of situations. This is just the start of it. I have been defamed. That township supervisor has said that I've sexually assaulted women in that office. The township deputy clerk is gay bashing me and my wife, saying my wife's a transsexual, saying I'm gay. He is intimidating a 9-year-old kid. And this is all on video, every bit of what I'm telling you.
It's appalling.
It's disgusting.
It's appalling.
I've been punched in the face because of this.
Have you talked to the sheriff's department?
They've called the sheriff department out there. It's a big, long, drawn out deal.
Mhm.
And this all started over Michigan property owner rights. I have non-conforming property. And that man that's a supervisor does not understand that. And I've tried to get information from him. And FOIA requests. He or his wife, which is the township, one of the trustees, is throwing FOIA requests in the trash. Filling them with lies or not even filling them properly. I've addressed this to a bunch of people and with no success. I can't get anybody to help to do the right thing. And I know that you guys don't have any say in anything that goes on in that township as far as correcting this problem. But this problem's out there and it's not just mine. It's everybody that's a resident of that township or this county.
Have you tried the attorney general?
I've sent that video off to him. I don't know if it's reached him or not.
How long ago did you send it?
I've been sending stuff off since this happened in like May.
Did this happen in May?
I can't say exactly May. May or June is when this
Okay,
happened. I have to
early
look
summer.
back through my records.
Okay, and you haven't heard anything?
I have not heard a word. I've contacted different levels of government. I've reached out to a couple of you people, not mention your names. They have given me a little bit of insight as to how to approach this. No success. The president of the United States has stepped up to some of the stuff that's going on in Los Angeles, and he's made comments on it. This is just as appalling as what was said by Nuri Martinez.
How about the Michigan Township Association?
I've tried to get through to some of that stuff and I'm not really tech savvy, so my back's against the wall right now.
Okay.
They say, see something, say something. I've seen enough. It's time for me to say something. I've reached out to our local media, TV 9 and 10, TV 7 and 4, and our local paper. And No response back to any of them.
The cleaver or the review?
Well,
I brought it to my boss. Mac TV and at the County Review, the information he's given me. They're the ones who control it.
it was vague what I gave you, and I was hoping for maybe a meeting.
I did send it on to both of them.
But that is the response I'm getting from people on this. And you know, I don't know what more to say. But I'm disgusted by it. You know, I have blacks in my family.
Mhm.
There are blacks in our communities. And that's not acceptable.
It is not.
Well, maybe some of the people here will have some time to think and maybe give you some suggestions for the
That's
meeting.
why I brought it out.
Well, thank you
Okay.
for doing
And I
that.
appreciate
Thanks,
it.
John.
Yeah.
Sorry to have to do this.
No.
Any other public comment? Yeah.
John Marion, I'm from East Township. Just wanted to bring to the attention a couple of issues. Number one, I tried to send a report that I came across that I thought was very important and was trying to locate email addresses off the website. Impossible.
Hmm.
What didn't occur to me is I should have checked my Bible that's out of date.
Mhm.
It says 2021 and I'm on the list to get a 2022. However, I'm thinking maybe we should skip 2022 and just shoot for 2023
Yeah.
to get this updated.
We are.
And
Yeah.
I found out my own neglect is the addresses, the email address I was looking for were in here. But what I wanted to bring to your attention was a report that I came across. The lack of a state inspection system for septic tanks in the state of Michigan. We're the only state in the country that does not have a unified inspection system. And we got 11,000 lakes in the state of Michigan, plus the Great Lakes. Wait a minute, what are we protecting? And then you take it down to Clare County, 20 lakes, 20 minutes. That's just the big ones. If you count all the lakes in the county, there's a jillion of them. The lack of having any kind of an inspection system is absolutely ludicrous that we don't have one.
There is, the health department inspects.
It's got to be done automatically on the sale of the property, and that way it forces it. Right now, it's on a
Yeah.
per, if somebody said, oh, I think there might be a violation there, I think they'd go out and maybe do an inspection. But it should be automatically triggered. And they just recently had some townships up in the peninsula up on Leelanau that have banded together in setting enforcement into that type of thing. But the fact that the state is letting the townships and the cities control this is really crazy. We need to get our legislatures off their butt and pass a law that's going to control this, because right now it's not being controlled.
There are some counties in the Central Michigan District, Health District that
Doesn't-
are doing this. It's pre-sale
Yeah. Isabella.
inspections of water and septic.
But it should be mandatory
Yeah.
statewide.
Yeah.
So there's no loophole in there,
Mhm.
because they know, look at Higgins Lake, they've already looking at the age of that, they've got a huge problem up there. That lake's gonna be a toilet in a few years, that's no question.
We got a health department meeting next week. That would be a good question for them to see what is coming up through the channels on that. And maybe that question's already being answered. So I'll see if I can get any information on that and I'll
Okay.
get back to you. I see you all the time at work, so.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, I'd appreciate it.
You
Thank
bet,
you.
John. Thank you. Any other public comment? Okay. Everybody had a chance to look at the communications list.
Attached is on the amended agenda is the annual real property foreclosure sales report. Jenny, it was originally sent to you guys towards the end of September. And it's just for your review and just needs to be notated in the minutes that you received it.
Okay. What do you got for us?
I have for you. The Michigan Association of Counties presented Senate Bill 1160 and 1161 at a hearing in the Senate Appropriations Committee. Senate Bill 1160 and 1161, it's the creation of the Revenue Sharing Trust Fund, carves out 10% of the state sales tax. It would potentially increase the state revenue sharing for Clare County by 40%, which amounts to approximately $300,000. You can log into the MAC website. I have some special instructions here. If you log into the MAC website and you click advocacy, all you gotta do is fill out your name, address, and information that you support it, and they'll get that off. Opioid settlement dollars should start coming in this month, which will amount to throughout the year, approximately $46,000 for the next 8 years. Senate bills relating to the Open Meetings Act are still ongoing. This legislation is about the ability for board members to appear and vote virtually. So that's still out there. There's also legislation on election consolidation, which what this is, it eliminates the May election, moves the August election to June. And the intent of this is to provide clerks adequate time between the primary and the general elections. It also would save money by having to conduct fewer elections. We did receive local assistance and tribal consistency fund dollars from the U.S. Treasury. This was a program passed by Congress as part of the American Rescue Plan Act. We got the information a month ago. I applied for it and we received a $50,000 payment on Monday already.
Good job.
So we're gonna get another $50,000 payment this year. So that 50,000 Jenny was able to accrue back to the 22 fiscal year. And this money can be used for any government purposes except for lobbying. Right now, we are still in phase 2 of the server migration. The plan is to take the existing 34 servers on all the old hardware and consolidate them into 15 new servers. They've already consolidated 10 servers into 4. Next week, they're going to start phase 3, which will be migrating and consolidating the sheriff's department. And the plan is to consolidate 5 servers into 3 with help of their respective vendors. The server migration should wrap up towards the end of November with phase 5. Once the server project is complete, we'll have all new network infrastructure, including a new firewall, new switches, and new wireless access points. And dates are not quite set for those, but they're working hard to get to that. IT Right's taken over the email administration and the DNS record management for Raymond Technologies, which was a vendor that we used before, but we're using IT Right for that. And then DC Tree has taken over management of our website. As you recall, our website did not have a security certificate and it crashed. So they're in the process of constructing the new website. So there are things on the website that people can, it's actually a page right now, but they can access, like they can access the Fetch GIS, they can access the Zoom. There's other things that they can access, the paying for taxes, those things on the website, but it's still under construction right now. There are 2 networking projects that IT Right and our IT is working on, and that's connecting the Carpel to Lane. There's been a lot of issues with that, but we did get all the players together, the Michigan State Police, Carpel, Prosecutor's Office, IT Right, everybody was at the table. So hopefully that'll be taken care of here pretty soon. Let's see. The Michigan Department of Corrections came in and did a jail inspection, which they passed with flying colors. Great job, Dwayne. the corrections and to the correction staff and maintenance. Also, the sheriff's department will be receiving an additional $41,000 for the secondary road patrol, is in addition to the 33,000 they're already getting. And the Michigan Commission on Law Enforcement has granted money to the sheriff's department for new recruits and training. So that's awesome. And revenue sharing is still coming in, or revenue is still coming in for fiscal year 22. We don't know how much that's going to be, but so far the revenue that's come in is $13,523,325. And our expenses are $12,756,357.20. So there's still a couple things that are lingering that we'll have to pay out of the 22. But that's a $766,968 revenue over expenditures. So that's my report.
Very nice.
Very good.
Thank you. Okay. Sarah's up. Where would you like?
Do you want to just sit right here in the front?
No, I just didn't know.
Put your chairs right up.
Thank you.
I've got some.
Okay, Jack. Sounds good. All right, if you need anything, holler.
Thank you.
While Sarah's handing those out, that's our annual report. It is from 2021, our fiscal year, which would have ended September 30th, 2021. So that's for your reference. My name is Brian Krogman. I'm the executive director for community mental health for Central Michigan. Been in the position for about 4 months now. John Obermessick was our former director, retired after nearly 30 years with the agency. I worked for CMH for about 28 years in various roles and now serve as the executive director, as I mentioned. So we're going to give just an overview of community mental health, and Sarah, as our program director covering both Clare and Gladwin counties, will talk about local efforts that are taking place. But CMH for Central Michigan is we're a 6-county governmental authority established by the Michigan Mental Health Code. We're governed by board members from the respective county commissions and community representatives, as well as consumers served, or those receiving our services. And all, we have a 15-member board. And certainly like to thank Commissioner Bristol for her participation as one of our board members. The counties that we do serve include Clare, Gladwin, Isabella County, Mecosta, Midland, and Osceola counties. I'd like to thank you for your strong partnership with us and for your service to the Clare County community. We are accredited by the Joint Commission, it's the national accrediting body for healthcare organizations. We've held continual accreditation dating back to 1996. As a Joint Commission nationally accredited organization, it's indicative of high quality services provided in a safe manner. We expect our next on-site review to be this upcoming year. We provide a wide array of evidence-based services to children with serious emotional disturbances, adults with severe and persistent mental illness, and individuals with intellectual or developmental disabilities, as well as persons with co-occurring substance use disorders. And you mentioned the opioid settlement dollars. Our vision is communities where all individuals experience fulfilled lives. CMH professionals provide individual and group outpatient therapy services, home-based services to support the whole family, psychiatric care, case management services to enable individuals to live independently in their communities, 24-hour community crisis supports, along with a wide variety of other services across the continuum of care. In 2021, CMHCM served over 10,500 individuals across the 6 counties, including over 2,700 children. Of the 10,000 people served, approximately 1,500 received services in Clare County. Across our 6 counties, CMH funding supports about 2,200 jobs, providing services to some of the most vulnerable citizens in our communities. Of those 2,200 positions, CMH directly employs about 460 staff. About 41 of those staff providing services here in Clark County. The remainder, about 1,800 part-time and full-time workers, are employed by contract providers. About 60% of our budget is related to contracts that we have with organizations who provide various services to individuals and utilize direct care professionals, direct care workers to provide those services. These are individuals providing services in adult foster care settings or in individuals' own homes. And again, help individuals live as independently as possible and provide services such as skill building or supported employment services and so forth. The CMH budget for fiscal year 2023 is $142 million. And allocated to Clare County this year is about $13.8 million. With most of that is Medicaid funds. Medicaid is about 93% of our funding. Of course, that's a federal state participation in terms of that funding. Clare County itself contributes about $139,000. And we certainly thank you for your support to enable us to provide the services that we do. And again, Sarah will talk a bit about some of the local efforts that are taking place. I wanted to mention in closing with my portion, I'll turn it over to Sarah, is, you may have heard at various points over the years about system redesign of the public mental health system and threats that come to bear on that at various points. Once again, we have these. You may have heard Senator Mike Shirkey has a set of bills. Representative Mary Whiteford has a set of bills, all designed to change up the system of care as we know it. Senator Shirkey's bill, of course, is very much geared toward privatization effort. Mary Whiteford has some aspects of that, but still upholds, I think, the public system to some degree, albeit a number of changes. The latest word on this is that the two have been collaborating. Of course, Senator Shirkey didn't have enough support. Michigan Association of Counties, for example, has come out in opposition to the set of bills that he sponsored. The word is now that the two are collaborating together and talking about bringing their two proposals together in some manner. We don't fully know. It's not really open publicly on what that may be looking like. But what one of the proposals associated with this is a compromise bill to move Medicaid kids services, including autism and foster care, over to private insurance companies, essentially Medicaid health plans to operate and manage. And then the state would create one statewide entity to manage other populations. Problem with this is doing what we're doing right here, having the transparency that is present within the public mental health systems through the Open Meetings Act, for example, and having the accountability to the local governance. That is a major question mark in any system redesign that would take this away from local control and perhaps have this go out to various Medicaid health plans, some of which are in locations headquartered in Michigan. Some are headquartered in other states around the country. And so that's very much a concern. This is in the name of integration with mental health and physical health, which we certainly believe in. Our mission statement includes the whole health of individuals. But we have all kinds of examples of integration. You don't need to shift the dollars to Medicaid health plans to have what we already have as examples of various efforts to integrate and collaborate. That's one of the beauties of the public mental health system, is the community partnerships that we enjoy and we work with within all of our various counties. And so I urge you to, at any point, oppose any kind of merging of these two plans together and maintain the public system. Does it need improvements? Yes. We know that there's very much crisis across our nation around mental health services, youth mental health services, and we're trying to address those very intentionally and think that our system and our public approach to it is the right way to go. This is something that we're watching, of course, in the lame duck session.
Yes.
In November 8th elections, and then finally it'll be a very short period of time where, in Mike Shirkey's words, I think they're wanting to just get something done.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
so I wanted to share that specific piece with you in this opportunity. I'll turn it over to Sarah to talk about some of the local initiatives. Thank you.
Hello, good morning. Just kind of piggyback a little bit about what Brian was saying. I could just say, whew, we've been busy, and that would kind of summarize the last year, I think. There is definitely, that I've never seen before, a shortage in direct care professionals, children's mental health professionals across the board. And you can imagine in our rural county, we are not exempt from feeling that pain in terms of staff turnover, coming out of the pandemic, we want to call it that, and having to have transitioned to pretty much providing virtually based services during the pandemic, to then going back out in the community and providing office and community-based services. Lots of people decided, well, hey, I can work from home. I don't need to come back to the office. And so that has led us to do lots of onboarding constantly of new staff and trying to shape them up to the job that we do, the people we serve, and our system. And so it's taken what is already a very busy system, especially coming out of the pandemic and the increase in mental health or behavioral health concerns that we're seeing, and then adding on top of it the need to try to train almost an entirely new workforce. So that's why I say we've been busy, just I feel like sums it up. Not only in transitioning out of the pandemic world, if you will, we also in the last year worked very hard to transition to team-based care, to even increase the level of integration and quality services that we're providing to those that we serve. In Clare County, every county looks different as to what their teams look like based on the size of their office. In Clare County, we are now divided into 4 teams: Team Embrace and Team Wise. We have Team Superheroes of our school-based staff, and then I decided they saved all their creativity for the work because they just call themselves the children's team. They use all their creativity for the kids. For Team Embrace and Team Wise, those are our biggest teams that serve the biggest volume of consumers that we see. We have balanced teams that can provide the same services out of every team. A consumer that comes in our door still gets a primary case holder that they are connected to and work with, but then they also get access to an entire team. So if I'm your primary case holder and I'm out sick today, you don't need to wait to get your need addressed. Someone else from the team will pick up that issue. Or if I take a week's vacation and my consumers needs things done, someone else from the team will pick that up. We also have team-based care meetings every week where we staff maybe who's struggling, who do we need to make sure we're making contact with, who do we need to get in to see the doctor, who's doing well, and we can maybe. So it's really been a dedicated effort to provide this really integrated, seamless level of care. Out of those 2 big teams that we talked about, we serve approximately 684 Clare County consumers. 430 adults with severe and persistent mental illness, 117 adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities, 88 children with severe emotional disturbances, and 49 children with intellectual and developmental disabilities, which is going to include your kids that are on the autism spectrum. As I mentioned, we have Team Superheroes, which are our 4 school-based staff. I don't know if you remember, but we operate out of Farwell and Harrison schools, out of some contracts directly with the school, and then some contracts with the RESD regarding around the 31N C4 and caring for student C4S monies. What has been really beneficial about having our staff in the schools is that they are very adept at recognizing what is appropriate for school-based mental health and what is something that needs a more intensive level of care and needs to be referred to CMH for treatment. Also, because they contract with our agency, the children that we see the entire year. There is no summer break as long as the families will stay involved with us over the summer. My school-based therapist will either see them at the school or they'll go out actually to the homes and see them so that we can try to help keep them engaged in treatment. Not all of them take us up on that opportunity. Many families also want a summer break, very understandably, but we try to bridge that gap so that we don't have a kid who we've helped make gains in school, then not maybe have that support and consistency over the summer and then come back in the fall and have things kind of sometimes fall apart or revert back, I guess is what I'll say. So that has been really beneficial. Our school-based staff handle, maybe a one-time visit that is a crisis of a kid just having a bad day. Maybe a kid's just having an outburst at school because there's something going on. And then they also carry a caseload at the school where parents have provided permission for us to see their child for ongoing treatment. The other thing that we really bring to those engagements is that focus on family services. We know kids do not walk in the world alone. They live in a family system. And we know from evidence-based practice that if you don't treat that system, kids will initially get better, but then they will go back to the way they were before because the system hasn't changed. And so kids are but that's the word I'm going to use to help the system stay in balance. And so we focus on really trying to engage families to help them make the changes that they also need to make to help their kid thrive and to be able to do their best. Our children's team is a mix of our outpatient staff, our home-based staff. I am happy to report that Clare County now has its own dedicated wraparound staff. Around very intensive family-based service. There is a facilitator who helps the family design a family team that kind of why the name is wraparound. It helps wrap around the family to help them to be successful. We used to have a shared Clare Gladwin wraparound facilitator because we weren't sure the need. Well, the need is there. And so I was able to work with Ryan and our administration to get our own position here. Medicaid caps the number of families that wraparound can work with. And so when we had a shared position, that was 10 families between Clare and Gladwin, and now we can serve 10 families just here in Clare County.
Great.
And we are full almost all the time because we have definitely seen, and I don't think I can emphasize enough, the increase that we've seen in kids coming through our front door and the increase in the intensity and severity of the behavioral issues that we're seeing in these kids. The pandemic did not do a lot of our children well. That isolation and, not being in school, and we are seeing it every day that what you hear is definitely the truth. Our kids are really struggling. We've had the toughest spaces to fill, honestly, are our in-home children's providers. You can imagine the pandemic did not make doing in-home treatment look super desirable. And so that is where we've struggled to find people to fill those positions. To try to fill some of the gaps, we've hired for the first time a home-based case manager who is that's a bachelor's level position, and they are able to help provide intensive services to our home-based kiddos. Like the home-based therapist might go out on one day, the case manager might go out on another day, so we can get some more supports in there. It's also been a way, because we have had shortages in our home-based team, to try to get some more support to our kids and families assigned to outpatient services, because then we can also get the home-based case manager in there to help working with them on some issues. Between home-based and wraparound, for intensive children's services, we currently have approximately 35 kids in those services, with the need growing. We also still continue to have our Clare Gladwin shared ACT team. That is for our most significantly vulnerable adults with mental illness, typically people with like schizophrenia or schizoaffective diagnoses that need lots of support to maintain in the community. And out of Clare County, we have 17 Clare County citizens that we serve on that team. Also, we continue to partner with DHHS. As you can imagine, the pandemic also brought them a lot of turnover. And so in order to keep those collaborative relationships going, we still do lots of partnering with them so that we can best wrap around, particularly the vulnerable families we serve. We also continue with our jail liaison position, and Casey, who serves in that position, does an amazing job. She actually spends most of her time in the Clare. It's a share Clare Gladwin position, but I'll be honest, Clare gets way more of her time because there are way more inmates there. She has helped divert 9 people from mental illness from being in jail. She's helped 6 people obtain psychiatric services while in the jail, most often when people are in the jail and they're struggling with symptoms of psychosis. Between Clare and Gladwin in the past year, she provided over 160 one-on-one counseling sessions. She's run 6 life skills group here in Clare. She's helped at least 10 people connect with CMH services upon their release from jail. She's helped inmates find housing. And I wanted to just share a couple of success stories that she had shared with me to show the impact that we're trying to make in kind of recidivism. There was an inmate who had a long history of incarceration. She had been in CMH services, jail several times. Casey really worked with her to provide some extensive CBT. At the time that she told me the story, the woman had been maintaining a job. She had kept over a year of being out of jail, which was a long period of time for her, and she was playing an active role in her daughter's life. Another inmate who had a lot of trauma and he had a fear of mental health services. She was really able to make a connection with him while he was incarcerated, and get him set up with some medication treatment while he was incarcerated. And that rapport she was able to build helped that when he was released from jail, he actually, she already had him set up with a case manager that she had introduced him to. And so he seamlessly transitioned into our services. Casey had mentioned that in her role, a lot of time inmates have a difficult time adjusting to incarceration and have little understanding of what's happening with the court system, even how to use the phone, what's going to happen to them, which leads to anxiety, which then leads to often problematic behaviors. She feels that sometimes when she's able to help them understand the process and validate their fears and offer her services, it helps appease some of that anxiety. And so then hopefully we see some of those behaviors go down. She's also been able to spend some time educating jail staff about mental health and responses to situations. So she not only tries to support the inmates, but also the staff of the jail, and then tries to connect inmates with the community as a whole to really help with that reintegration in society. I will provide two statements that I received from some of our law enforcement people about her services. One being Midge. I said it was a little awkward to quote him while he's still in the room, but Midge is an amazing asset to our department. Her passion for patient care has been extraordinary for our corrections division and providing inmate care to a level that we would not be able to provide without her. And then Lieutenant Brian Dunn said, Casey is a great asset to the correction division team. She has bridged a gap that has been an issue in the field of corrections for quite some time. Casey's not only here for the inmates, but for the office, but offers her services to staff as well. Since Casey has started with our division, I feel we have had a better understanding of each other's professions and have used that to work together to improve the inmates' mental health. Casey always makes herself available. Casey sees inmates in a group setting and always makes herself available for one-on-ones in need. It is a pleasure to work with Casey, and I hope that the funding continues and maybe someday we'll have her here full-time.
Oh, that'd be great.
So thank you all for letting me talk about what we do.
Thank you.
Thanks for the report.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to mention this new position of jail liaison. This was very, very needed. And probably most people know that at least 80% of our incarcerated have mental health issues. And our undersheriff, Midge, has been very supportive and he's worked hard in this area too, as you mentioned. So appreciate that. And then I just got back from the MAC conference, the Michigan Association of Counties, and you spoke about Shirky's bills. All of the counties are very opposed to his bills and they're working hard. Our legislative liaison there is working hard to get rid of them. So let's hope that, that works out. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And I've been on their board of directors for a total of 4 years. And this is one of the most dedicated, hardest working agencies in our area. They are, and they're a model for other agencies on how to construct programs and to take care of their employees. I really appreciate you guys. Mhm. Mhm.
Thank you for your time.
Pete, you.
Oh, it is me. Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
So before you are two items. The first item is the 4029, which was amended. There's now a second sheet on there to account for, was it senior?
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. And that's at 0.2700 mils. And so that does need the apportionment report is a gathering by Tracy Brubaker in our office of all the millages that are levied throughout the county, whether it's a school district, whether it's village, wherever there's a taxing authority and it's levying a millage. She go ahead and tabulates that. And at that point, the Board of Commissioners is authorizing the spread of that levy. There's no actual dollar amounts in there, but we generated, we usually give you a rough idea in the spring. So that's what we're doing today is accepting and placing on file the apportionment report and approving the revised 4029.
Motion, Jeff?
They're
Will
right
you
here.
do number one?
I move to accept the apportionment report as presented and authorize the equalization director to spread the tax toll.
Got a second?
Tax roll, right?
Yeah.
Roll, sorry.
Yes.
Second.
Roll.
Yeah.
Motion got a
Takes a toll.
second. Roll call, please, Lori.
Did you type that?
Asplund,
Yes.
Majewski,
Yes.
Bristol,
Yes.
Haskell.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Will you take two?
Sure, I'll take two, to approve and adopt the amendment for L 4029 tax rate request regarding the senior citizens renewal passed on August 2nd, 2022.
I'll second that.
Roll call, please.
Majewski,
Yes.
Bristol,
Yes.
Asplund,
Yes.
Haskell.
Yes.
Carried.
Since I have your attention, I just a brief update that we are in the process of finishing up the field work for the equalization studies this year. More than any time, we've had requests for appointments from individuals. That's made it pretty difficult because we schedule and get out there. If you happen by the office, you've seen some new faces there. Our new business plan involves locating staff in the county, so they're familiar with all the processes, so that if we have a staffing issue here, we can roll two people in pretty much at any time. So hopefully it is working out well, and I'm pleased with that. And Kayla Marshington works for my company, has trained them, and is also in the office. But and also I'm here if you have any questions or any concerns.
All set.
Try to keep it quiet.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. We have a motion to approve filling vacant assistant prosecutor position at the wage at $65,000 per year. Any
I have notes on
discussion
that.
on that?
Yep. We have a recent vacancy in the prosecutor's office. If you remember, in June and July, I surveyed 10 separate counties of their wages and benefit packages for the non-union positions. And an assistant prosecutor, the APA was included. The average pay in those counties was listed at $65,723. I am recommending that the pay for an APA be increased to $65,000. Currently, I believe it's at 57 something. In the office right now, we have a prosecuting attorney, a chief assistant prosecuting attorney who's off on FMLA, and we have an assistant prosecuting attorney that is 100% grant funded and exclusively works on drug-related and violent crime-related cases. Across the state, prosecuting attorneys are struggling to fill vacancies due to pay competition, stress of the job, and just fewer people going into law school. As a county, it's difficult to staff at optimal levels. However, we need to continue to make sure we fund at a serviceable level, which currently we are not. Cases are backed up. We need to fill this vacancy. We need to do what we can within reason to be successful in filling this vacancy. I'm recommending that the board approve the filling of this vacancy and at the requesting wage of $65,000.
I'll make the motion to approve the vacant assistant prosecutor's position at the wage of $65,000.
I'll second.
Motion second, roll call, please.
Majewski,
Yes.
Asplund,
Yes.
Bristol,
Yes.
Haskell.
Yeah.
Motion carried.
That's it. Everybody else in the county gets $30 for their phone.
Yes. Animal control only gets $25 for their phone stipend and everybody else gets 30. So I'd like to make that.
Sandy, will you do that motion?
Yes. To increase the phone stipend for employees, this is for animal control, from $25 to $30 per month, which is the amount paid to other county employees.
Second.
Motion second, roll call, please.
Bristol.
Yes.
Asplund,
Yes.
Majewski.
Yes.
Haskell.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, health and human services, Brown, will you take A?
Certainly. I move to approve the grant from the Region 7 Area Agency on Aging in the amount of $255,973.
I'll
I'll second
second
it.
it.
Okay, motion second, roll call, please.
Asplund,
Yes.
Bristol,
Yes.
Majewski.
Yes.
Pascal,
Yes.
motion carried.
Dale?
Sure.
Take Veteran Affairs.
Sure. To approve the grant from the Michigan Veterans Affairs in the amount of $72,100.
I'll second that.
Motion second, roll call, please.
Majewski,
Yes.
Bristol,
Yes.
Asplund,
Yes.
Pascal,
Yes.
motion carried.
I'd just like to comment, this grant for Veterans Affairs is an additional grant to the $58,000 that they got for fiscal year 23. So we were just contacted last week. They're going to get an additional $72,100.
That's
And it's
wonderful.
not as restricted as what the other one
Oh,
was.
that's great.
So
But Carol's happy.
Nice. Who did the last one?
I did.
Sandy, will you take building and grounds?
Yes, motion to approve the purchase of a new maintenance truck with a plow and salt spreader in the amount of $64,500. A portion of the cost will be paid service fund and the building department fund.
A second.
I like that deal about the salt too.
would you like me to comment about that
I
too?
would like to comment on that, please.
Okay, we need to replace the 2001 Ford 150 that assists with the snow plowing. We have a pretty large campus. We have the courthouse, the sheriff's department, the senior center now, and animal control. Would like to purchase a new truck and an 8-foot box salter with a cover. We also will be able to work with the road commission to get our salt scooped into that truck. As opposed to what we currently do is we take 50-pound bags. It takes 30 of them, you know, you have to put 30 of them into a smaller salt box that we have. Just changing the salt option alone could potentially save us $10,000 a year. In addition, I would like to note that I have called several companies to price what the possible cost for keeping the county campus free of snow, which is all the places that I talked about. And I was quoted an average of close to $80,000 a year. The cost of the truck and the salt spreader and the plow is $64,500. Some funds will be paid out of other departments because we do those buildings. And those are not general funded departments. So I do recommend that you approve this.
Motion been made?
We had a motion, we had a second.
Yes.
Roll call, please.
Bristol,
Yes.
Majewski.
Yes.
Asplund,
Yes.
Pascal,
Yes.
motion carried.
Okay, Brown, will you take finance A?
Yes, motion to approve statutory finance committee meeting minutes of September 19th, 2022 in the amount of $98,264.98. And meeting minutes of October 3rd, 2022 in the amount of $324,658.52.
I'll second that.
Motion second, roll call, please.
Asplund,
Yes.
Bristol.
Yes.
Majewski.
Yes.
Pascal,
Yes.
motion carried.
Dale, will you take B?
Sure. Expenditures of the month of September 2022 in the amount of $3,725,589.54 with the general fund expenditures totaling $984,710.66.
I'll second that one.
Okay, roll call, please.
Majewski,
Yes.
Bristol,
Yes.
Asplund,
Yes.
Pascal.
Yes. Lori, you got anything for us?
Not much, just the 2022 November general election is all set. Testing is almost completed in all the townships and everything's on track. That's all I have.
Good.
We will have the building open night of the election.
Yes.
I did request that security be here from 8 at night until about 3 o'clock in the morning because we have to be open by law.
Correct.
And then also the 11th, which is Veterans Day.
Yes, that's a holiday. The courthouse is closed, so I'll have to pay my staff double time to work the canvas that day. Just a heads up.
Thank you, Lori. Jenny, got anything for us? I see you have a hand over here.
Guys, the first one, and I really have and also is the ARPA fund. A while ago, but just to show you an update of it. Number one use. And what is coming in. Kind of give you an update with the numbers as we go through it. That doesn't have to be encumbered until December of 2024, and then it doesn't have to be spent until 2026. Little blurb there. Then the next sheet is the current cash and fund balances. They also have some investments. So the general fund. So that is just the current as of today's cash balance and fund balances throughout there. There's little notes throughout there. If you have any questions on that, you can come to your time. And then just the statutory September, the month of September, of the ins and outs. And then the final sheet, this is the one that I update every once in a while. There's no sense right now to put 2023 on there because we're just now into 2023. So I have a preliminary 2022 commissioners coming in. This one, 2009 through 2021 are all actual numbers. There's no budgets, no estimates. This is just actual numbers. So this is the very first line. It's the fund balance, what we had ended with in all of those years. And then it has what the revenues were, what the expenses were for all of those years. The preliminary is we're at right now, but as Lori says, we still have a 60-day approval period in which any revenues that came in that were for 2022 we get to go back into there. And also expenses as well. The biggest expense that will be coming out of the 2022 will be the payroll approvals for the final week that is there. And then there's just a snapshot, a third of the way down, where it's extra revenues that we've used to offset expenses, which are appropriations for the X funds. And then I also give where revenue sharing is and the mileage, and it kind of, when you look at all of the years, you can see the increase or decrease what we've used on that. So if you have any questions on that, just let me know. It just kind of gives you a snapshot of what all the years have that have led up to. And one of the probably most helpful things for you is if you see the fund balance as a percent of the expenses, if you watch that percentage going across how back in I'd say probably 2018 through 2020, how we were really, really low, but we've been creeping back up, which is really good. And then just some other notes, the second land sale for the county ends October 28th. We only have the two City of Clare parcels, which are behind the old Woodbeck's Radio Shack. I don't know if you guys remember the old Woodbeck station that was right there in the City of Clare. There's two parcels. And I think they get wet sometimes if there's overflow with the water right there at Herrick Park or something like that. So that there's, anyways, we just have those two left. The 5 demos that I had on some of the foreclosed parcels, which were really bad, our needs, we finally had those done, so I'm pretty excited to look at those. Another note is in our county, we opt to have the state of Michigan deny our PREs, and then we're the middleman, so we end up having to do all the work, and for the county, it gets to be a lot of work because they can go back 3 years. We just got hit with 84 properties that got denied principal resident exemptions. So it equals approximately $110,000 I had to pay out to the schools. And then we get reimbursed when the taxpayers pay back. Pretty significant one that we had. And then I'm working on investing, trying to get some of the money out and take advantage of some of these better rates that we've had. We haven't seen this in quite a long time. Actually, I'm not sure if we've seen this at all during my career here. And then just busy reconciling and working on rules for 2020. I don't think anybody has any questions. If you do, feel free.
We-
in August anytime.
We actually asked department heads yesterday or the day before to hold off on any large expenditures for about 6 months, so Jenny could invest the cash if possible, like if it's needed, but everybody seemed to be pretty receptive, so.
Yeah, that's a great
We're
idea.
trying Also to not have to get the tax anticipation this next year as well, trying not to use some of the other funds to help offset the cash flow up until, the tax money comes back in July.
Thank you, Jenny.
Thank you.
Okay, I guess I'm up. All right, that's Michigan Works meeting for August. I thought disappointing that Clare County only had 6 jobs filled with an unemployment rate of 7.6%, where the state average is 6%.
Hmm.
Seems like all the areas around us had more jobs filled and less unemployment, so I didn't find that as a good indicator. And the health department, I was hoping the people from the mental health were still here. The health department's come up with a new program called Community Connections, as to where they have, anybody that has issues, they have a liaison that will go through and help this person. Maybe they came in for medical treatment, but they also need help finding a job and help with their mental health. And this person actually follows this person through their treatment, make sure they get the right help. So I don't know if any townships or anything want to recommend that to any other people, but I think it sounds like it's going to be a good program. And through this, the studies and surveys they did, some of the main pain points for Clare County was they have a very high drug overdose rate here in the county at 52 this year was of last month. And a lot of our people are really hurting because of the high childcare costs in our area. So other than that, that's all I got. Dale?
Nice job, Jeff.
I should brought notes with me this
Brought
time.
notes
I
with
didn't fly off the seat of my pants.
Just attending my meetings this month has been just crazy with a lot of meetings. We've had all of our Lake Association
Oh,
meetings,
yeah.
special meetings here, there, township meetings. It's just,
It has been.
it's been crazy this month. But a lot of good feedback out there with, and a lot of people anticipating a bright future for the county for the years coming on. So.
About the child. Talk about the child abuse thing that you.
Oh, I had a chance to sit at, well, I didn't have a chance. I just sat at the Greenwood Township meeting the other night. And there was a lady that came in that had talked about the child abuse cases in the Clare County, actually. And it was kind of alarming. Out of the 83 counties, Clare County ranks number 2. Gladwin County is number 4. That's really alarming. I had asked Lori to invite this lady in to come and do her spiel. It was really informative and it was a big eye opener of what's really going on. And I think that's something that we as a county need to spearhead so that we can definitely get out of that number 2 position, because it's not a position you want to be in. So hopefully next month she can come in and do her presentation that she gave at Greenwood. So we can get some motion moving in the right direction to help with that. Help get us out of that number 2 position.
Yeah.
So.
And that coincides with the letter the article that you sent about not having any places to put these kids while things are being mediated, no place for these abused kids to be put safely. So we really need to get aggressive about that. I was going to talk to you about building places, because you can write really good grants.
Lori's been.
If you look at it, if you really look at it,
Somebody been working on it.
we're number 2 and we have a population of 30,000, 31,000 in Clare County. So we are outpacing Genesee, Kent, Detroit, basically. I mean, it's just alarming. That out of 30,000, I mean, now, I don't know, Michelle could probably answer to some of these, whether they're actually, if they live here, or if the act was actually performed in Clare County and it goes on our stat or whatever. But it's just alarming with the population we have, and we're number 2 in the state, and Oakland was number 1. It's just.
It's a problem.
Mhm.
When the Child Advocacy Center came here, I met the Bethany Long, who was starting up the mobile advocacy center at a training. And I said, I need you to come talk to me. And I told her, I will give you my own office building, so you have a standalone center. And she's like, you won't have enough for a standalone center. And I said, yes, you will. And you know, she came back and said, you weren't kidding. It's a problem here. Not only do people come here and commit the crimes, but they're committing them on our own kids here.
Mhm.
We're busy.
Do you find it's increasing, Michelle? The number is increasing, or it's just always been there?
It's always been there, but because now with the advocacy center and the team model that we built, so support CMH and the other counselors and DHHS and the Child Advocacy Center law enforcement, we have a better team in place to share information and to put the investigation together and bring the cases forward.
Yeah, I understand that. I just wondered if the rate of, child abuse has increased.
I think we're getting more reports because the CAC center is now in the schools educating the kids.
Good, okay.
And so we're getting a lot more reports. I think it's coming more to the forefront
Yes,
and people feel more comfortable coming forward. So
yeah,
I don't know that it's increased, but I know it's come to light more often.
yeah, that happens with them. Okay, good. Thank you.
Bronwyn?
Yeah,
What you
thank
got
you.
for us?
Yeah, I was going to speak about the child abuse cases because that's my township, Greenwood, but thank you, Dale. I appreciate you bringing it up. Also, as I mentioned, I went to the Michigan Association of Counties Annual Conference a couple of weeks ago, and it was very enlightening. A lot, as I said, was talked about the Shirkey bills, and all of the counties are really on board with defeating those. I was very happy to see how many accolades our elected officials received from other counties. Jenny and Lori and our undersheriff, our prosecuting attorney. But I heard an awful lot about our new administrator. It seems like every county knows our new administrator and has heard such great things about her, and it made me really proud. So. Okay.
Of course.
Thank you, Bronwyn.
We have some good people here.
Sandy?
Okay. My townships are relatively quiet. Going very smoothly, just the usual talk. They're discussing road projects for next year. They're getting ready for the elections. There's some sweaty clerks out there that are like, there's some talk of blight problems in some of the townships. The southern townships don't seem to have as much blight, but we've got some like congested areas up here. And the blight problems are, the main ones are never ending because of the process that you go through. You have to approach the person, try to get them to clean it up. And then if they don't comply, then you can write a ticket, and then you can write another ticket, and then the person can clean up a little bit, and that will kind of stall things off. So there are these continuing kind of situations. And when they end up in court, it's more money for the township. So there's a little bit of frustration there. Hazard Mitigation Committee is wrapping up. We'll probably have plans. I don't know if by the end of the year, but getting pretty close. Final plans. I'm going to talk to you for a second about Amble Elementary out there on Arnold Lake Road. It's right on the border between Franklin. Amble is in Franklin and Hamilton is across the road. And some people that live kitty corner across the road were complaining about how Amble looked, and the grass hadn't been cut this year, so it looked like a hay field. And they were petitioning to get it taken away,
Demolished.
yes, thank you so much, demolished. And so I asked Jerry Becker about it, and I got him to take me out there. I used to work at Amble. That was the best 10 years of my teaching career. And we did a tour inside, and there's a couple of places where the roof was leaking, but it's basically a cement block building, and it's very, very sturdy. And then I talked to Lieutenant Van Bond, yes, I don't know, I always do that with his name, and asked him about how he felt, because there's constantly police training out there. I just live around the corner, and there are huge bunches of police using that all the time. And I said, we've got these people that want that building torn down, and he said that it was absolutely imperative to keep that building, because in the northern part of the state, that's where the police department, sheriff departments are coming to use that building for the training. And he said it's the only actual school building where we can do shooter training in a real school. Says it's imperative to keep that. And so I did talk to the new superintendent of Harrison Schools, and she knew about Amble. And she said she was thinking about talking to the state police, Michigan State Police, to maybe take that over and make it into a real training school, but I don't know if that would go in there. Probably state police is pretty busy, but I let that woman know that that building's not being torn down, and I really appreciated Lieutenant Van Bond. Okay, and police and fire departments that go out there. I talked to Chief Danvelt, and he didn't, I told him about the people that wanted it torn down, and he said, no, we use that. And so the 4 fire chiefs in the county reaffirmed the fact that they're going to use that building. So I was just letting you know about that. And the grass was mown. They had to bring in a tractor with a brush hog. But it looks better now. All of the agencies that I'm on their boards and advisory boards and stuff, like you heard from mental health, and I work with senior services, and I'm on the regional advisory board. Everybody is having trouble getting help and keeping them, even if they've raised pay and things like that, and they're all just suffering like that. And there's a fast turnover, so everybody's suffering from that, as we are, The airport is still functioning. We haven't gotten back together as a committee or an advisory board or a group that's fond of the airport, so I'll keep you updated on that. I heard about Jeff's community connections from the health department, and I just heard about that like last week, and I'm going to approach them because I'm running for reelection, and I've been door knocking, and I ran into this woman in Frost Township who's on disability, and she's like, I think like in her 40s, and she has a disabled son there, and she's moved up here not too long ago, just in the early part of the year, and she's in a big long trailer, and that trailer is starting to tip over. Okay, so the foundation's not good, and she spent a couple of days with a floor jack trying to get it lifted up and put some cement blocks under there, and she just about wrecked herself. And while I'm there, like, I need your vote, she started crying, which just about broke my heart. And so I've been trying to find places for her to get help, and I told her about 211, and I said, call Mid-Michigan Community Action Agency. And then I found out about this new deal at the health department, which they might be able to help her. And I'm going to call her back and give her that information.
Sandy, have her call 539-2761. The county has a rehab program.
For trailers?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's some certain criteria, but they can help with foundation and structural.
Oh my God, okay. And what?
If she owns it, she has to own it.
Yeah, well, I don't know if she owns it outright, but she's buying it, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
All right.
And they can probably help with that if she's income eligible.
Yeah, she's living on about $900 a month.
Yeah, it's a no interest, no payment until the title of the property transfers.
Oh my God, okay, that's great. That was good help. So I probably talked enough.
Yeah, you're way over your limit.
Sorry, but Rick's not here. I could hog up his time. Okay.
All right, we got any public comment? No unfinished business, and the new business we had was taken off.
Yeah, but I do
this
have one
agenda.
thing.
One thing too, after you.
So I just now got an email from our auditor about the ability to be able to sell that building in Clare.
Oh,
On how we talked about it. So Jenny and I need to get together. We can do what the hospice house has requested. So I'll give them a call and I'll get with you so we can, figure out the details.
great.
Just now, like seriously,
Right,
just now.
and
That's good news.
to the board members, I guess we're few here today, but every month we raise the animal control's hell or phone stipend up. But that's a kind of an outside service paid to an employee. But we got to go through, sign it all, okay it and everything else, even though it's a generated,
Mhm.
should be an automatic thing every month. I'm wondering if anybody had any problems giving the cell phone stipend to the administrator's discretion and not have to have that approved.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. 'Cause we
So-
we sign about.
Or do you need or can we just?
Yeah, you'll need a motion to put it on the
I'll
Pre-approved.
make the motion.
pre-approved list.
Pre-approved list.
Can we do that now or we wait till next month?
Now.
Do it now.
Okay,
I did
Dale
it.
made the motion.
okay.
Ron, you second? All right, and so we'll go roll call just because we got money.
Bristol,
Yes.
Majeski. Asplund,
Yes.
Pascal.
Yes.
Motion carried.
Okay, I think that's it.
We sign.
Meeting adjourned.